Sometimes when you're driving down the road all by yourself, you begin to hear a voice that tells you need to look around, pay attention. Maybe something isn't quite right. That voice is me. It's the voice of Gord. Hey everybody, welcome back to Voice of Gord. Quick little intro note here for you before I run out the door. Got 2 jobs going on this week. I've been busy as heck. You would have noticed there was about 3 weeks I didn't post an episode. My apologies to all the listeners out there. I've just been a little overwhelmed the last little bit, and it's been hard to get stuff out. But I'm trying, and I'm looking forward to getting you some more episodes here soon. Today's show is great. It's with an old buddy of mine from high school who has since become one of Canada's most famous online internet personalities, Josh Bigger, the best damn roofer. I recorded this back in February, and it's taken me this long to get the thing edited. And in the meantime, Josh's profile has raised even higher. He's been on InfoWars a couple of times. He's organized protests against the tea people trying to influence young children at public libraries. Take from that what you will. I think it's based as hell and good for him. But Josh's story is amazing. He runs a roofing company. He designs and sells and markets roofing tools. He's a singer. He's a comedian. He makes all these awesome videos. He's just an all-around great guy. I hope you guys really enjoy this. As always, I really look forward to your feedback. That's what keeps me going. I love fan mail. I love people who want to disagree with me. I love people who hate me. Send me an email, gordilocks@protonmail.com. If you're listening to this and you haven't already, head on over to my Substack, autonomoustruckers.substack.com. Smash that subscribe button. You won't miss an episode or any of my written content, such that I've produced very much recently. Later on this month, the Coots guys are back in pre-trial hearings, and then their trial is going to start. And I'm going to try and make my best effort to comment on that as much as possible. But summertime is here. There's lots of jobs, lots of work to do, lots of stuff here to do at the homestead. I'm going to have to burn some midnight oil for you, just as you guys burn the midnight oil to keep America and Canada and wherever you're listening rolling. All right, my trucking friends and everybody else. Have a great day. Enjoy this show. Make sure to leave a comment if you can. Pass it around. And, hey, we'll see you out there. Take care. All right. G'day, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Voice of Gord. I'm Gord. This is my voice. The other voice you're about to hear today, you've probably heard somewhere. This maniac is all over every social media platform there is, spinning memes and songs and insulting all of the right people. He's also a working class dude just like me. He fixes up roofs, and we happen to be from the same town and went to the same high school.
That's right.
Would you please welcome to the show, Josh Bigger, a.k.a. the best damn roofer.
Big time.
Big time. Look who just showed up. It's bedtime at my house, and my daughter, Georgia, came by to say hello. Say hi, Georgia. Oh, she's waving.
Hi. How are you, sweet? I got 2 children, too. Just getting them ready for bed. We got a birthday party tomorrow, so.
Oh, very good. Exciting times.
Always exciting when you got kids in the household, right?
It sure is. Never a dull moment. I love mine. Mwah. What are your kids' names? How old are they?
Oh, we got Palace and Riot. Palace and Riot are 8 and 9 years old, and I have 3 other children. They're all girls, and they're high school age. So got 5 kids in my household. So it's always something to do. Always work to do, put it that way, as a father and a parent, right? Never a dull moment, like you said.
No, that's right. Yeah, no, I have two. Vivian and Georgia. Vivian will be 6 in May, and Georgia here will be 4 in March.
Good ages. It's lots of fun. I find as the kids get older, it's different stages, but there's still lots of fun with having teenage girls too. They got boyfriends now, so there's that whole different perspective that you got to get ready for as a dad. You gotta one day you're gonna have to. They all grow up, you know.
What's that, Georgia? You want to hear? Oh, Daddy's got his headphones on. I think it's bedtime. I think you need to go see Mommy. No, no, you're gonna stay up all night and speak with me and Josh. He's gonna watch.
They got the roofer on. Kids get excited. I'm like Santa Claus, right? Big time.
You got the beard to go with it. When you're all done roofing and your back is broken, you have a career being in a mall Santa for sure.
Yeah, like Bad Santa with Thornton, right? I'll be like, the sequel, like the young George Carlins, the worst Santa or best damn Santa, whatever you want to call me.
Well, you seem to be getting quite a bit of practice at that, sir. Like I said in the intro, you're all over social media. You were on the Alex Jones show here recently, and you just spoke with Jim Ferguson over in the UK. And I wouldn't be surprised if you've been on all kinds of other stuff I've missed. So how did you get into this position as this amazing social media phenomenon? Like, fill me in. I've been away from Canada and I don't pay too much attention to that stuff. So you'll have to tell me all about it.
I was always like being on the microphone, like being on stage. When I just got out of high school, we were in a traveling band, punk rock band, got on the Warped Tour, played with big bands like Offspring, Taking Back Sunday, The Used, Blink-182 on the same label as Sum 41 and Good Charlotte. We started doing a lot of touring, and that kind of, it lasted for a few years. Had a bunch of kids, started roofing, started my own company. And I wanted to, keep making funny content. So I started making kind of like a Trailer Park Boys version of, the best damn roofer, just satire about the whole industry and, drug abuse and just bad character and, funny shit. So it turned into it went viral pretty much, and I just kind of kept going with it. So we've turned into there's music, we have full on production. We have a production company now, so we film a bunch of different commercials for different companies, and including ourselves. So we do music, all the Freedom songs we've done, and continually making stupid videos and pissing off the internet. Kind of what I do now.
Right on. So your long history of this goes back before the troubles, as it were.
Yeah. I've been doing. I call it. I'm an artist, right? So I've been doing. That for years, right?
Awesome. Remind me the name of your band. Were you with Scotty Riley? He had a band for a little while too, eh?
Scotty Riley. What was the name of their band?
He was in BC for a long time, and then he came back and he was with a bunch of boys in Burlington. And man, that's 25 years ago, and my memory's not so good.
I'm trying to think of the name. I think I know what band you're talking about, but no, I was in a band with it was me and Corey Favell, Rob Turner. Corey Favell was his dad was the Maple Leafs goalie, Doug Favell. So he kind of had like some cool shows through that, and we went and his dad had some hockey friends. We got to meet some of the greats over the years, hanging out with Corey. But we've just toured around St. Catharines when we first started out, and then we got signed to a label in New York, and had a good run. But it's hard to make it in the music industry, obviously, right?
Just like it's hard to make it in podcasting. I do this for $0. It's a passion project,
Well, it's a musician, right? They never, what they say about a musician, right? Well, a musician without a girlfriend is a homeless musician, right?
Well, you have a home, and you probably put your own roof over your head, in both ways of saying it.
Oh yeah. Well, I got a roof for a living still, so but I don't think my music wouldn't pay the bills. Put it that way. I think we had close to 1 million downloads this year, and I think it might pay 3 or 4 grand. It's like pocket change for really, like, for all the amount of time it goes into produce a song and write it and put it out there, and then you got to pay Spotify a certain amount of thousands of dollars a year to host it on their domains, and you don't make any money. Put it that way. No matter how much you
Right.
sell.
Yeah, I understand that most of the money in the music business now is in touring, like playing shows and being on the road all the time.
Yeah. No, there's no albums anymore, right? When we were younger, yeah, Christ, you'd go to Sunrise Records, buy your album $20 or whatever it was. Remember, an album was $20 back 30 years ago, right? And you'd support your band. And back then, your favorite band, you bought that album, they'd only get $1 off that album. The other $19 was going to some rich creep in the music industry, probably, right?
I remember, um, I think I'm a couple of years older than you yet, but I remember when the Black Album by Metallica came out, and I would have been in grade 7 or something like that. So this is like 91 or 92, and they charged $18 a CD for that. And back then that was unheard of. And a whole lot of people, that was like when they started turning on Metallica. It wasn't just about the music. It was like $18. Are you out of your minds? Like, do you think we're rich? You know?
Oh yeah, and then Metallica, didn't they? Weren't they the ones to get really upset over Napster? Remember,
Yeah,
everyone
that's
was getting their
right.
music. They're like, "We want our money." Like they got Hatfield. Everyone lost a lot of respect for them. Actually, I find during that era, got really selfish, right? Like, how much money does one person need? But I guess when you start getting lots of it, that's when the greed kicks in, right?
Sure. Yeah. No, I've never had any, so I don't know.
Me neither, right? Yeah. I don't want any if that's the way you behave, right? These rich people don't seem very happy all the time. So,
No, and the funny part is when what little you do get is earned through hard yakko like roofing, you're respected a whole lot more, man. Like roofing is a hard job. I've done a few roofs. I roofed my own house in Beamsville, corner of Central Ave and John Street when I lived down the street from the high school. Did that with some boys. My cousin Lisa in Grimsby, her ex-husband was a roofer. I helped him on quite a few jobs, and that's hard work, man. Like, I don't think most people in the trades understand how hard it is, but like in general, that's one of the hardest jobs going, eh?
well, there's an old saying in the roof industry: you never want to fight a roofer. You know why?
Why is
Because
that?
kicking your ass is the easiest thing he's done all week.
I remember I met this tire guy out in Whitecourt, Alberta, of all places, and he was ripped. Like, tire irons, busting tires on and off rims all day, running that big rattle gun. And he did the old A team, I pity the fool that messes with the tire man,
Yeah.
I pity the fool that messes with the roofer.
Well, that's what they say, right? The roofer's
Oh,
got it pretty hard. So usually
well,
when you find a good roofer, he's already done some time in roofing university. And roofing university is better known as penitentiary, right? So do 3 or 4 years in roofing university, come out, you start doing your hands-on training.
yes, sir. Speaking of pitying the fool, a particular fool who happens to be sitting in the prime minister's chair messed with roofers, truckers, welders, mechanics, basically the entire country. And here comes the best damn roofer to say some things about it. I think this is where he got even more famous.
Ripping Trudeau in half. Yeah, I've been known to do my rants, right? One of my most popular videos was when I was in Ottawa, right? So we started ripping Trudeau in half, and I think Benny Johnson and a couple of the right winging media outlets and states picked it up pretty quick, right? And they let it rip. So we had a bunch of viewership off those funny videos, right? I try to bring humor into things, make people laugh, but in the same breath, make them think a little bit, right? Because if you try to tell someone and try to wake them up a little bit, and you're yelling at them, you're frustrated, they don't listen, right? But if you do it with a joke, you make somebody laugh, you break them down a little bit, and they might laugh. They might say, "Oh, it's stupid. It's just being funny," but they'll think about it, right? It's more I find it's a better way to get people to think of it. Maybe possibly change, right? You plant that seed, and
Right.
a
Yeah.
lot of
No.
them,
Humor is a great social lubricant.
very much so.
So tell me the story of like how it is you ended up going out to Ottawa and joining the Freedom Convoy and engaging with your audience with these humorous videos, ripping on Trudeau and just spreading the story of freedom. Like, how'd that all happen?
Well, obviously, everyone was anxious during the lockdowns, trying to find a way to, stand up against their government. We had several protests in Niagara that never went anywhere. The people that were putting the protests on would get arrested right away, and it just seemed like there was no hope, right? So when Ottawa convoy was heading down there, just everyone was getting involved. So we wrote the song "Freedom." And to raise money for the truckers, we put a video together, filmed it in Queen's Park the day of the convoy as they were going through town. And then we collected donations, and then we brought them all up to Ottawa in Tim Hortons cards. So we want to bring cash. So we cashed out about $10,000 in Tim Hortons cards. And we just went around, give those to the homeless, gave them to all the truckers on behalf of people that would in my town that helped sponsor, and a lot of other small businesses that wanted to help out. And when I went up there, I had a big following already with the Best Damn Roofer, but of course the content is outrageous, and some people think it's stupid. And I didn't want to the media, because the media at the time wanted to destroy the convoy, so I didn't want to be responsible for giving this terrible image, like, oh, this guy's part of the convoy. This is this roofer guy. So I put on a fur coat and painted my face like Braveheart and screamed freedom. I was like, there we go. So I was Mr. Freedom after that, just to kind of like protect my face from being known as that drunk renegade drug addict roofer that I portray on social media. So, right.
At that point, were you doing the whole thing where you sort of charged Trudeau voters more for their quotes and made a big spectacle out of it, or did that come later?
Well, okay, so we wrote this song. I don't know if you've heard the song, but it's a cover of "Love Yourself" by Justin Bieber. But we rewrote the lyrics. It's called "Fuck Yourself," and it's by Best Damn Roofer, and it's about overcharging liberals. And if you don't like my price, you can go fuck yourself, right? So we were filming this video. We wrote the song, and I do marketing as well. Besides roofing, I market several other companies. So we figured it was a way we had to get, and I used the leftist mob for marketing. They're a really good marketing team, actually. So they took the video that I made at my friend's house about me charging liberal voters more, and the left mob just took it and ran with it. They swallowed the bait, hook, line, and sinker. And I went from nobody knowing who I was on the left to everyone fucking wanting to destroy me and my business. That was on a Monday morning. And on Friday, the video was done. It was called "Go Fuck Yourself." And that was my retaliation to all the left media across North America. And to be honest, they weren't too happy with the amount of production I put into it. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? Because we spent way too much time on this video, right? It looks like it was made in Hollywood. And so they didn't know what they were up against. And we had this huge online battle with all these leftists. And I'm still in it right now. But I weathered the storm. 500 bad reviews, thousands upon thousands of phone calls, hate mail, death threats, you name it. But I'm still here with a big fucking smile on my face. Okay.
And
So,
still putting roofs on houses.
like I say to people, I'm like, if you don't want me doing your roof, maybe your purple-haired lesbian son wants to do it, right? If he's not too busy playing Sega Genesis in the basement eating Hot Pockets, you know.
Wow, Sega Genesis. There's a throwback. That's 25 years ago or more. Holy cow.
Takes you on time warp there.
You head out to Ottawa, and how often did you go? Did you stick around for a while? I mean, obviously you're not a trucker, so what was your sort of schedule there?
Well, I went up there with my dad, my dad was a truck driver, retired, so I'm a son of a trucker, right?
Who'd your dad work for?
My dad worked originally for ICL, International Freightliner, whatever they're called, and then they were bought out by Yellow Freight, which is now out of business.
Right.
I think Yellow Freight got like a $900 million buyout last year, and then they went bankrupt this year. It's like, crazy. But yeah, Dad worked for Yellow Freight. He had like 3 million miles safe driving, and he when this was happening, he came with me, and that's who I went with. I never went with the convoy. I went alone with my 7-year-old dad, and we just gave out hugs and screamed freedom, and danced and sang on the streets of Ottawa peacefully. And that was our story, right?
Many such cases. I'm a trucker as well. At the point of the convoy, I've been living in the U.S. since 2016. My wife is American, and I felt that it behooved me to go home and express solidarity not only with my fellow truckers but with the entire nation of Canada. And it struck me right away that that's what it was about. Like once you got to Ottawa and felt all that love and the people's desire for healing after a couple of years of like major psyop, that's what it was all about, and it was super positive. It was a real bummer I couldn't stick around. I was only there that first weekend, but man alive, life-changing moment.
Oh yeah, I explain it to people as called being born again Canadian, right? I think it was right. Like we all in Ottawa and we all harmonized. I think everyone was just in desperate need for human contact and human smiles, and we all ripped our face masks off, and everyone was hugging. And it was like, everyone just started to understand how evil these governments are and how they're not out to help you. And people felt really upset when Ottawa was dispersed. I was there for 3 weeks. I was there the last day. I stayed another week after, and it wasn't the end there. People were really upset. I'm like, this is just the beginning of this war. We are against the most evil entity on the planet, and if you don't believe in God, okay, that's fine. But Satan's pretty alive and well. He's living in Parliament, so right. The serpent is real.
Many tentacles around the world, and this is the part of the problem is that Parliament and governments in many Western countries don't really rule for the people that voted them in. They rule for these transnational entities and corporations and organizations which are outside the realm of democratic contestation. You can't vote for them, you can't get rid of them, but they have the ear of our governments and way more influence than we do. And if you say anything about it, you get called a populist or a right winger or a freak or whatever. But last time I checked, democracy is about demos, the people, and they're not representing the people anymore.
Not at all, right? I mean, it's funny that people think that we can vote a new person in power and it'll change everything, but the people that you vote in, like Poilievre, for instance, and in Canada, he's been a politician for 21 years now or more. He's a career politician. If he gets in, there's no rules for him to even change anything. So he's not held accountable, just like Justin Trudeau won't. There's no obligation to change anything. So unless one of these people that we vote in says, hey, I'm going to make rules for me and my fellow politicians. So, we're going to change the things for you guys. We're going to make rules for us that we have to abide by. Not one politician's going to do that, so it won't change. You know what I mean? You just vote the next guy in. They might change things for 3 or 4 years, but it's going to go right back to the same bullshit, right? So we actually have to start holding politicians accountable and actually put rules and regulations in for these people that are in these positions of power. And until we do that, I don't think there's going to be much change in this country, right?
No, and over and above the politicians, there's these sort of like, in the United States, it might be referred to as the deep state. Some theorists refer to it as the professional managerial class or, technocrats, these sort of people that are always there, always pulling the levers of power, always influencing policy, again, outside the realm of democratic contestation. And they're just always there. And unless people that we elect do something about the influence of these various people and groups, like we're just kind of hooped, eh?
Well, like I said, there's no rules to tell them they have to. And if they don't do what they say they're going to do, there's no repercussions. If I was going to do your roof, Gord, and, you pay good money, you want me to finish the job, right? And of course, you don't want that job I did. You don't want it to leak, right? And if it did, if there was a problem with it, you'd think there was, some type of warranty, or I'd be accountable to, to fix what wasn't done properly, right? But in my world, yeah, of course that's true. But in a politician's world, that doesn't exist. So
No.
that's a huge problem. So all the old saying, "Rules for thee and not for me," and I can't believe we've gotten this far in society where everyone's like, "No, that's okay." Like they don't, they're sorry, right? Politicians are sorry, and move on. No, like they go through they can go through my accounting and my business and my taxes whenever they like. We don't get access to our leaders' taxes or ask for an audit. Should be a yearly audit. We got to go through their phone calls and all their stuff, right? But hell no, they don't. They don't have any repercussions for any of their actions. Obviously, that's why we're in this boat right now.
Yeah, it's like the thing down here in the U.S., the whole Ron Paul audit the Fed thing that never seems to go anywhere. They are above law and rulers unto themselves. But what are the white pills? So you spent all this time in Ottawa. You met tons of people who desire change, who are feeling love, realized we are all human and we all have to connect. And we've had this division put between us under the COVID regime. Like, just speaking with regular people, never mind all this politics stuff. Like, what did you find while you were there?
When I was there, I found it was just people there was desperate for human contact. One of my favorite videos I made while I was in Ottawa, there was this group of elderly women, and they were all 65 plus, and I'm screaming freedom. I look like a Viking, and they're sitting there. They scream freedom, and I'm like, "Who wants a hug?" And I remember they all like almost lined up for a hug, like they were just so happy to like somebody like I mean they probably had grandkids that hadn't hugged them in two
Oh,
years, right?
man.
And
Oh,
in my video, there's this little old lady. She's got to be 80 years old, and she's waiting, and she's literally in mittens with her toque on, and she's literally shaking because she's so excited for someone to give her a hug. And it's like I've watched that video over and over, and I'll be honest, Gordon, I've probably made 4,000 videos in my life. And that one there is one of the best videos I've ever made. And I didn't even mean to. It was just a live moment from Ottawa. It was awesome. Like you can't rewrite that moment in time. You can't redo Ottawa. It was a blessing. It was people harmonizing under love, right? Or if you want to call it God, or if you want to just call it, human contact. It was definitely a beautiful time to be there for sure.
it's amazing that people were so in need of something as simple as a hug and just regular old human contact. And like I say, one of the things I discovered immediately when I went to Ottawa was that it was not about the truckers at all. It was about this like deep wound in Canadian society, and it was being reflected in all these people who were so happy to see these truckers show up and actually stand up for them and bring some humanity back to society. It was very, very moving. I've gotten to meet so many amazing people. It's funny you say you keep screaming freedom. There's this fella named Freedom George from Alberta. You know George?
I just talked to him on the phone last night. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, yeah. I interviewed him here, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I'm going to release that one soon. I've been talking to him as well. Fellow truck driver. He hauls natural gas around northern
Mm-hmm.
Alberta. Good guy. And there was that video of him coming out of court, and all his supporters were there, and he was just so happy to just get on with it. Like, there's just so many of these positive people around. I can never get over how y'all were smeared as being these bad actors, but it was just like people giving hugs and just wanting society back. Like, what do you make of that? How did you deal with all the smearing and baloney and whatnot?
I honestly, I'm like, I consider myself a media warfare veteran. So being involved with the comedy aspect in the roofing industry, I mean, probably 7 years ago, I was canceled before being canceled was a thing. I was canceled by several people in the roofing industry. They had all my pages shut down because I was being unsafe and drinking on the job, but it was all satire. But I was always under fire, right? So I've been under fire doing what I've always done, being myself online and try to make people laugh, but I've always been under fire for it. So, I mean, for all the bullshit that came my way and all the death threats and all the bad phone calls, and I just love it, man. I love I just like, it's like you're winning, when you piss that many liberals off, like I can feel their negative energy. It makes me feel good. It's like, it's like you know, when a liberal tear, right? I get to, you can almost taste it like, damn, like that person's mad because I'm happy. I don't even know them. This is crazy, right? And I think the internet really pushed these people, the way they could talk to other people. Like human beings never interacted like this in my lifetime, being so ignorant and rude to each other. But like social media brought it to a whole new level where like you would never talk to somebody like that, but on social media with this big, shield that you can, your screen you can hide behind and say whatever you want, right? So I dealt with it pretty good. I was the youngest of four brothers, so like I said, my whole life I've literally been picked on, from a baby till now I'm a fucking roofer. I'm picking on myself at the career choice I had. So
how are your brothers doing? Well, part of the reason we're chatting is like we all went to Beamsville District Secondary School. We all sort of grew up in the same area. How are your brothers doing? What are they up to? Where are they living?
my brothers are all living here in the same town. We all live in the same town. We never moved out. We never got kicked out. And my brothers all became professional firefighters in St. Catharines. So they're all first class. I think GW's a captain now. Adam's an acting lieutenant or chief. They're all high paid firefighters. Adam was one of the highest paid firefighters in St. Catharines and lost his job due to not disclosing his medical transcript. So he was fired. Now recently got his job back. And Chad was he had a religious exemption, so he was exempted from getting the vaccination due to his religious status. And then GW unfortunately had to take the first shot, which he was hospitalized and had some issues with his heart, and he never took the other one again. And those are three of the reasons why I went to Ottawa with my brothers, right? So I was a roofer. It didn't affect me. I could always go on your roof. It didn't matter. I could do whatever I wanted. No one cared. But my brothers, their jobs were on the line, and I was directly affected personally. They attacked my brothers. So that's where I made my stand and protected my family as much as I could, and did it peacefully in Ottawa.
No, good for you, man. This is one of the reasons that the convoy spoke to so many people, because it got personal. Like the government got right up in people's shit and like right up in your body.
Yeah.
And true. There was a famous video. There's a video that kind of went viral a few months ago. The new prime minister in New Zealand who replaced Buckface Magoo, Jacinda Ardern, and said, nobody forced you to do anything. Trudeau said something much similar. And it's like, do you guys not realize what coercion is? Are you trying to rewrite history here and cover up your tracks? Like, get out of here.
Well, it's what they're doing. They're just so blatantly ignorant, these politicians, right? And it's funny that you record this has all been recorded and you share it. And sometimes you share stuff where it shows how much the politician's lying. And then next thing you know, social media bans that video, or, doesn't allow anyone to see it, or you get restricted for a fact checker or whatever they want to throw on it, right?
Ministry of Information from 1984. George Orwell laid it all out for us, and it's happening right now.
It certainly is.
Yeah, I just, the people that want to say, we need to move past this. Oh, you guys are still talking about it. Why are you still talking about it all these years later? And it's like, do you not understand the lines that were crossed, the principles that were upended, and
the laws that were broken too? There's laws that were broken. The rights that were taken away.
I was talking to someone about this a few weeks back, like, as far as voting and stuff goes, like, you mentioned that probably ain't going to do much. I mean, if anyone came to me and said, I want your vote, I would say, I want you to hold everybody responsible for this accountable and make sure they never hold a position of power again. Are you going to do that for me? The answer is probably going to be no.
At least lie to me, right? No. That's what you're supposed to do. Politicians are supposed to lie to you, right? I mean, it's almost like we know that, Paul, like it's a fact. Like, oh, politicians are all liars. Like, well, how have we not in a democracy made rules for these people in charge, right? And the rules that they have to follow, if broken, the punishment should be twice as much as it would be for someone that's not a politician. So if you steal, if it's 5 years in jail for a guy like me, well, it's 10 years in jail for a person in a position of power. I'm just a dirty roofer. I'm expected to steal, right?
No, it's interesting how you've internalized all these stereotypes. I've tried to avoid the trucker ones and act outside them, but I guess, a way of facing it all head on is to just own it.
That's right. Like stereotypes are funny. Any comedian or anyone that does comedy, they're going to make fun of themselves, right? Whether it be Chris Farley uh, being overweight or Chris Rock talking about his upbringing in his culture, right? Or a roofer talking about his day-to-day struggles of being in the construction industry, right? It's just you laugh at yourself, right? That's what that's what I find brings happiness, a little bit of laughter, right? The world sucks out there, so if you're not laughing at something during the day, you just probably fall into a pit of depression if you kept watching social media and kept up with CNN.
Right. And I think, working class people, even before all the nonsense of our modern times, had a well developed sense of humor and way of going about life because, yeah, it's hard work and hard yakka and lots of things go wrong. And you have to have a good sense of humor to get through the day. So, roofing, I understand you have your own line of tools and some special roofing technology that you sell. Like, let's talk about that because I haven't done a roof on a house in a long time. You're still in it. Fill me in.
Yeah, I got this new idea. It's called roofing powder. You snort it. Comes in a small bag, right? Makes you work quicker. It's only like $40 for a small bag. Call my phone number if you want some roofing powder. Okay. No, I started developing. I started off doing marketing for some companies just because of my popularity in the roofing industry. We figured we had the pinpointed demographic and clientele we could sell to. So I started, working with Primeline tools, selling. Just started off making a tool bucket. It was called, where it had a collection of tools that I used that were made by Primeline, and we started selling those. And it kind of turned into I started doing the commercials, and I started making tools. So we have the best damn tool line now. We got the new knife, a new hammer, and a new ripper that we kind of changed some things to it. Kind of reinvented the wheel, kind of made it a little bit more roofer friendly. We're working on a few other tools right now. Also worked with a couple steel manufacturers, training, just loving the roofing industry, right? Started off making funny jokes, but now we're making tools, and we got Roofing University. We're actually teaching installation. And so it kind of came a long way from making videos. Like the first few videos, we were just like, well, the guy'd be bent over roofing and you had to fart on his head. And if you caught him, right there, that was one of my first videos, right? You fart on his head, and then if he doesn't say thank you, you don't say thanks, you're fucking fired, right? So that was how the first, we call them fart videos. That's my first video. Started just farting on each other at work. It was stupid, childish humor, but we were on roofing pages on Facebook. So there's thousands of roofers, and we just put stupid videos of us roofing, and it just kind of snowballed into making stupid videos about rapping and roofing. And then, of course, it turned into Joshy the Blowman and the magical cocaine and fucking everything else. It went over the board. No one stopped me, right? So no one was really trying to stop me enough. I tried to get canceled a few times. I lost my first few pages, but I just kept going. I always said to people, I'm like the General Warts of the roofing industry. Right? You can burn me off, you can get rid of me, but I'm coming back. And when I do come back, it's gonna be worse than the first time. Right?
And when you come back, you've got a new line of tools and you're even more powerful than before, ending up on Alex Jones. How did that happen? What was that all about?
So I guess they follow me. They're followers. I guess I got some followers on Owen Schroyer as one of the hosts on Alex Jones InfoWars. And they mentioned me on a couple of shows. He's like, this guy's crazy. This guy's crazy. Let's get him on. And I just happened to be in Texas. I got invited to the Ox Ranch because they were happy about me charging liberals more. So they gave me a free stay at the Ox Ranch and let me drive the tanks and shoot the flamethrowers and machine guns all on the house because there was really happy with my Canadian patriotism. They're like, this guy's awesome. So I happened to be down there. So we jumped on a live with Owen Schroyer. It turned into about a 20-minute video, live video. And they just love the idea that I'm charging liberals, telling them liberals to go fuck themselves and not caring if they cancel me, you know?
Right. And when you say that, you mean members or voters for the Liberal Party of Canada, not liberals in the wider sense. Or maybe you mean that. I don't know. Define that.
Well, I just say liberals just because it just suits like anyone. Like it means Democrat, it means liberal. Like just anyone that's going against your fundamental rights and freedoms. Just like the typical liberal. Like the video went viral in the States. Like people didn't know I was Canadian, right? So I was pretty. Yeah, my content's to capture my big audience is the U.S. So a lot of people don't understand. Like, oh, he's Canadian. Why does he care about American politics? I'm like, just because it's funny. It's the big thing, right? So,
and when you're the little mouse in the same cage as the elephant, you best be paying attention to what the elephant's up to. I was just curious about the term because in other parts of the world, like liberal means like sort of conservative free market economics, but in North America, it's inverted. It means progressives and leftoids and more government intervention into things here. There's different levels and flavors of that, but yeah, the Liberal Party of Canada are just sort of like the political arm of the Laurentian elite who really run the country. If they're going to drive the place into the ground, you might as well charge them more money and try and make yourself a little pile while they're doing it, you know?
well, I'm trying to sleep with all their wives too, right? So if I can't, I'm gonna breed these people out, right? I'll get them sooner or later. You can't beat them, you breed them out. But it's the old Scottish way.
I hear Sophie Gregoire is single now. Have you tried to cut in on Trudeau's turf there or what?
I know what I was thinking she might like roofers, right? Said she wants to be stripped or nailed properly, so that's kind of like that's my specialty, right? So we'll see. I'll see. I'll put a call out to her, see if she wants to go. I'd roof her. Put it that way. I'd roof her, right?
Even with her bad taste in men, maybe you can set her straight.
Yeah, hey, if she's got bad taste in men, a roofer will fit in there just fine, right? Can't be any worse.
Oh, man. So who else have you gotten to meet and speak with in this sort of new social media career you found yourself in?
um, I got to do a live with who did I was on with Pat King was a nice cool one. I've met Tamara Leach. I got to play my song Freedom up in North Bay in this arena at an event, and Tamara got entered in on a horseback with a Canadian flag, and that was pretty cool moment, right? I thought that was really cool. James Top, I had him. I was the only one he ever did a live with, and I did that on Facebook, which is pretty cool. Got to do a live with James Top, and it's kind of weird. Like people like you're a leader of the freedom movement. I always tell people like I'm not a leader. I'm just a roofer. Like no, you're a leader. Like no, Tamara Leach, Pat, they're the leaders. I just showed up. I just gave. I didn't organize anything. I've never organized really many. I just show up and give out hugs. That was my thing. I've probably given out hundreds of thousands of hugs, and I was doing my own science experiment. So over 2 years, I've given out hundreds of thousands of hugs with my dad, who's unvaccinated. He's 73 now, and he's healthy as a horse. We're living proof that you don't need to not hug people, and you can still live. You don't die from hugs. Although the government was trying to tell you not to hug your family.
Imagine telling people not to give hugs. What
Insane.
has the world come to? Tabarnak.
That's literally insane, right? Like, it's just so many people didn't get to see their loved ones dying. I can't believe humans just said, no, that's safer this way. And as their grandma just died in behind a closed door, no funeral, no nothing. Like, we just lost so much value for life in this little short time where people just like, oh, it's okay to, we're doing it for the safety of others. And I think people are just virtue signaling. I want to be safe. I care about other people. But meanwhile, that wasn't what they were doing. They were just leading this whole parade of, stealing our fundamental rights, and people thinking they were doing something good for humanity, which they were doing the complete opposite. It's pretty unique how you watch these elites orchestrate this all in front of you. And I knew from day one I didn't fall for this fucking virus shit. I was like, from day one, I'm like, this is bullshit. And everyone's like, no, man, this is serious. I saw it on the news. The death toll's going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Death toll's up to 10 million, man. You know, like, and yeah, that death toll's not there anymore. Imagine they put the death toll for how many people got vaccinated. It's pretty scary.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's just interesting what they pick and choose to report on, right? Like there was I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people killed in the Ukraine over a stupid war, various other conflicts around the world, and they choose what to focus on and then what to omit. And once you like figure out what's designated as you're supposed to care about this and not about that, then you can sort of like start to figure out what's going on. But like, did you growing up ever think you would live in this weird time we're in? Like, I don't know. When I was younger, I had no idea that this was like where society would end up. Like I say, we both went to the same high school, had a bunch of the same teachers. Like, I had never thought this kind of crap would happen in society. I don't imagine you did either.
I was naive to it. I mean, I thought the world was a lot more peaceful. I didn't see how evil it was. I mean, growing up in a small town, a very loving town, a very close knit community, you didn't know how evil the world was and how things were a lot different, and that there's a lot of evil individuals that are controlling our lives. And yeah, as we were younger, you just didn't see it. I mean, we didn't know. I think the internet helped bring awareness to it, but more awareness brings more attention, which they don't want attention on them, and that's what I believe they are trying to depopulate the world. And I mean, if you know, you know, right? I mean, if you know what they're doing, you know, it just is what it is, right? And it's good versus evil, put it that way. And I never really thought of the world like that when I was younger. I just thought it was a good place, right? And I mean, as a father, I think I'm just a lot more critical thinking. Every time I'm seeing some type of information on TV, you just take back and you digest it, see what the root of the problem is, right? Like when the Twin Towers fell, everyone wanted to go blow up Afghanistan, but like sit back and look like, oh, well, that was probably some rich old white dudes that did that, right? Like, and then now that it comes out, it was the rich elites blowing up Twin Towers so they could have a stronghold on military and border control. It's always been about controlling people, right? So after these terrorist attacks, same idea. They use the same plans over and over again. They have a fear, a crisis, and then they fix it. We're going to see that come out with the housing market right now. You're going to see this big crisis, and the government will have the plan to fix it all, but it'll just be more control, right? Same process again, right?
Well, anybody that can do math and understand basic facets of reality will soon come to the conclusion that they're all full of crap, right? And it's interesting how you mentioned borders before, because now borders don't seem to mean anything, at least over here. And
well, it doesn't Niagara. You got to cross Niagara. You can't cross Niagara without getting body searched. But if you want to go over the southern border to Mexico, yeah, it's wide open. But here in Niagara, you know where we live, it's like I can't believe the borders are open, because when we grew up right in Niagara, it's a Fort Knox getting across there, right?
Unless you were going to a Sabres game or something like that. They used to be pretty chill back when we were younger.
I think it's just since I've been Mr. Freedom, they've been a little more strict on me, right? Like another colonoscopy again? Fuck. Right?
I wonder how, we did pretty good in Niagara. We got yourself working hard on Freedom there, and Harold Jonker up in Smithville, and Jim Fannin from radio over in St. Catharines, and
we got Rob Primo.
Oh, is he from our neck of the woods too?
He's from Welland. We got Primo, and then we have the Niagara 411 convoy, or Niagara Convoy group. Sorry, not 411, but Niagara Convoy group. And they're huge convoys. They'll bring hundreds of cars. We've just been a steady convoy group in Niagara, which is pretty cool. So they do tons of events. I mean, I think they're hosting the Tamara Leach concert, which is in Kitchener, the 17th of February. For that's a fundraiser for Harrod Jonkers and some
I,
other truck drivers.
I heard it's in Grassy. Are you sure about the location?
It was supposed to be in this area, but I heard they switched it to. I heard now I heard this, and then the convoy said they're going to be in Kitchener because on the 18th I'm in Kitchener at the Innocente Brewery, and we have a Freedom Ale called the Best Damn Ale, and we got Randy Hillier speaking with us.
Oh, nice.
So me and Randy are doing a gig together, and it was be pretty awesome. He's a pretty cool guy, so I'm honored to do a event with him, and Desi Ranks will be there as well. He's an artist that's been in the freedom movement, doing music on every event. He's there with his music and just making it a friendly party. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'd come up for that. I'm only 4 hours away, but unfortunately that week I have some other commitments. But I'm glad to hear you guys are carrying on the fight. The Freedom Convoy rolls on because it's still not over. The Crown is appealing various people's acquittals of charges they received in Ottawa. Tamara and Chris's trials ongoing.
It's
Harold,
crazy
the,
how
the
much money they spent on that, eh?
oh no, it's
Oh,
it's it's nuts. And I came to find out that there was like a crazy drive-by shooting in Ottawa in September when Chris and Tamara's trial was going on, and because Ottawa City Police top 3 murder detectives were testifying against a peaceful protest, they never got on top of that case, and to this day it remains unsolved. So we have actual violent criminals running around free and peaceful protesters being crushed by the government through lawfare. It's pretty ridiculous.
well, even like here, Trudeau and Christina Freeland were talking about appealing the court's decision about War Act there,
The
about the House
Emergencies Act. Yep.
Emergencies Act. So I'm like, first of all, the government goes against, breaks all your and takes your freedoms away, breaks all the rules and regulations, and they use your tax dollars to fight the fucking appeal. I can't believe this. Like, when does this end? It's like so they take your rights away, then someone says they were wrong, and then they can appeal it with your tax dollars. Like, this is a circus, guys. Like, we can't. This is unbelievable, right? And nothing's going to change if we don't get somebody in power to change it, right? So, I mean, I'm going to vote conservative this year, but I mean, once we do and we get somebody in power, us in the freedom movement have to be hard on these people to push to change the rules and regulations they have for themselves, right?
Yeah, we need accountability and a renegotiation of the relationship between the government and the governed, because it's completely out of whack, and that's not just in Canada. And one of the reasons that Trudeau and Freeland and the Crown are continuing to punish everybody, I think, is that the Freedom Convoy was effective, it was peaceful, and it showed people that like you can actually get together and organize and have your grievances heard. And even though Trudeau ignored us, the provinces started rolling back a bunch of the mandates, and things started to change downstream of the Freedom Convoy. And powers who are much bigger than Trudeau don't want to see that again. I mean, you look what's happened in Germany and France. These French guys are all protesting now, and the cops are beating them down, and they do not want the infection of effective peaceful protest to spread. So the punishments will continue until the management improves, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to see those farmers getting together like that. I mean, I part of me believes that Canada truckers were the inspiration, like you said. They're the ones that started the whole movement. So it's kind of an honor to be even associated or be there to be part of that, world changing event. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, part of history, man. History is constantly being written, and you were there and giving hugs and singing songs about it, sir. Hats off to you. Fantastic.
Yeah, buddy.
thanks for being on the right side of it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It wouldn't be any other side, buddy.
Right. So I've kept you here for an hour, Josh. You've been very generous with your time. I don't want to hold you up here. It's a Friday night. You got your family and stuff. Where can people find you as if they couldn't?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm shadow banned pretty hard right now for sharing content against certain medical companies, which I felt was the right thing to do, and I'm not ashamed of it. And but I'm pretty shadow banned right now on Facebook, social media. But you can find me under the tag of Best Damn Roofer or Mr. Freedom on Instagram and Facebook, and on Spotify we have Best Damn Roofer. We have the Freedom songs that we've written, which is Freedom or This Town, which have videos that go along with it. They're all convoy related. So the Freedom song has kind of become the song of the movement, which is kind of cool. It's honored to have that there.
Right. I might have to go grab it and use it like as the outro music to this episode. That's fantastic.
Sure, I appreciate that.
No, man. No. Well, thank you for coming on, Josh. And any final parting words or thoughts?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I always say this on my channel. If you see the devil later, go tell him to fuck himself. Got to ward off those demons, man. Right?
No, that's great advice and a good way to end it. All right. Josh Bigger, the Best Damn Roofer. Way of the road, brother.
All right. God bless. Thanks for having me.
Freedom, what's living without freedom? Life's about living strong. What's living without freedom? Freedom, what's living without freedom? Life's about living strong. What's living without freedom?